What is going down, Niner Faithful? Welcome back to another video. Now, I'm filming on my computer. It's very bad quality, I know, but my phone's dead. And I kind of want to get this video up as soon as I could. But the Empire_49, shout out to you. He left a question. And by the way, if anybody has any questions for me, feel free to drop a comment in any of my videos. And if the question is good enough and video worthy, I'll make a whole video about it. But this question was pretty good. He asked me if... basically meaning if they are both free agents, would I rather sign Earl Thomas or Antonio Brown? Now, a lot of you guys will say, well, why wouldn't you sign both? Well, if it came to a situation where it's one or the other. Personally, I'm going to have to go with Antonio Brown. He said Earl Thomas, but I'm going to have to go with Antonio Brown. Here's the reason. Antonio Brown, now there's flaws about both of them. Antonio Brown is a diva to multiple organizations in the NFL. And he kind of is a diva. He was a diva kind of in Pittsburgh, but also he was treated poorly in Pittsburgh, which could also have been a reason why, he wants out in Pittsburgh. But then Earl Thomas, obviously, he's broke his tibia, or his tibula, and he's broke his leg twice. He broke his leg in Seattle 2 seasons ago, and then he broke his leg again just this past season. Or it may have been 3 seasons ago where he broke his leg the first time. But personally for me, I'm going to have to go with Antonio Brown, and here's why. I feel like with Earl Thomas, he's aging, right? And if you look at it perspective of the best at their position, Earl Thomas is no longer the best safety in the NFL. And that is because, he's had injuries, and, there's other things that go into it. But you look at Antonio Brown, he's the best at what he does in his position, in my opinion. And you could argue and say, well, DeAndre Hopkins is also good. You could argue and say that, Odell Beckham Jr. is up there. Top-notch receivers like that. Julio Jones is also another one. Who else? You can go down the list of, arguably the best receivers in the game. But in my opinion, it's Antonio Brown. And I believe that even though he is 31 right now, he still is the best at what he does at his position. So I'm going to have to go with Antonio Brown. I feel like Antonio Brown would have a bigger impact on our team. Now, I do get it. We need defensive help and things like that. But if you look at it in a perspective of which player could make your team better and be more beneficial for the organization, it's got to be Antonio Brown. And like I said, he's just the best at his position, and I feel like personally he would have a bigger impact on this team in general than Earl Thomas would. But Earl Thomas is still a good safety. But if you look at it in perspective, let's be logical. Earl Thomas is no longer the best safety in the game. I mean, you can argue that who's a good safety in this league? I don't know. I don't know. Who is a good safety in this game? Jamal Adams is up there. Derwin James is another great safety in this league. You can argue who's the best safety in the game. But personally, in my opinion, I think that Earl Thomas is no longer the best safety due to injuries he's had in the past. So therefore, I'm going to have to say Antonio Brown, and that's my reasoning. But I do still want the Niners to pursue Earl Thomas in free agency. Why? Because he's a veteran leader. He can, mentor our younger guys, guys like Travarius Moore, Adrian Colbert, Jaquaski Tarr, people like that. He can, DJ Reed even, he can, mentor those younger guys into becoming better players. So obviously I made a video about it a few weeks back, or probably a month ago or so, but I would still want the Niners to pursue, Earl Thomas in free agency. But if it came down to it, they said, okay, who are we gonna take, either Earl Thomas or Antonio Brown? It's got to be Antonio Brown for me. But that's just what I think. But personally, like I said, they're both hell of, great players. But Antonio Brown, I feel like would have he would bring more to the table than Earl Thomas would for this Niners team. So to answer that question, there you go. I'm taking Antonio Brown. But like I said, if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment down below, and I'll be sure to. I read every comment on this video, whether that's a hate comment from delusional NFL fan or whatnot. I read every comment. I usually respond to them as well. So any questions, drop a comment, and I'll make a whole video about it. With that being said, it's Niners49. And as always, go Niners. And let me know in the comments down below, who would you prefer, Earl Thomas or Antonio Brown?